Hey guys, it's Melanie here, and I am about to go off on the latest Faleena Hopkins blog post. But before I get into that, two quick housekeeping notes. It's been sort of brought into my circle for the first time. I've seen this sentiment before, but for the first time someone said it directly to me, which was kind of a weird choice because I get that it's just like it's taking over people's feeds and they're not really distinguishing who's talking about what. But I think on Facebook, I've made a total of like 3 or 4 actual updates about COCKYGATE, and that's interspersed with dozens of other unrelated updates about my life and my cat and pictures of my yard that I just weed whacked. So it's not like I'm totally obsessed with this case. Not that there's really anything wrong with being obsessed with it. There are people who are, and that's like all they post about. I'm not one of them. So maybe that's why I've sort of avoided negative comments about it until now. Unless you count the one person that goes through and downvotes every single video that I post, which is just funny. I get like 100 views a video. It's not that big of a deal. Like, spend your time elsewhere. Really, it's not worth it. But I finally had someone say directly to me, like, you're just doing what she wants. You're giving her the attention that she craves, and I'm so tired of hearing about this. It's really ruining my reading mojo. And, like, I get it. I really do get it. Because the romance novel world should be an escape from real world bullshit. But let's be clear, we are not, the ones that are speaking out about it, we're not the ones that are ruining everything. We're not the ones that have ruined the mojo. It's Faleena, okay? She's the one. If we just ignored her, as some people seem to be suggesting, she would still have an undisputed trademark. Amazon would still be pulling people's books and ruining their income. She would also have a wordmark trademark with a font that she has no legal right to, and potentially would be screwing over that font designer. And would it stop there? I highly doubt it. Other people would see that she was successful at it, and all of those other trademarks that we have seen would have probably gone through as well, because we wouldn't have COCKYBot on Twitter monitoring everything. And I'm just not willing to sit quietly by and let people do that. Even if that means, giving them the attention they want. That's unfortunately just kind of how life works. Sometimes malignant narcissists, not that I'm saying anyone in this particular case is that, but I have experience with them, so I'm going to speak to what I know. Sometimes malignant narcissists, because all they really want in life is to be the center of attention, they will find a way to force you to pay attention to them. And you do not have the option of not. And you can be made to feel really bad about that. Because, can't you just ignore it? Just ignore the bullies and they'll go away. We all know that's not true. It never works. It never has worked. It never will work. And so if you ask me, why am I still talking about this? Even though, again, I'm like not one of those people that talks about this nonstop. I've done some of these videos. It's fun. I enjoy doing it. But I feel the need to talk about it because we can't just ignore this. We cannot let her run wild and do whatever the hell she wants, even if it means giving her the attention that she craves. And by the way, the moment she steps down and stops trying to push this ridiculous trademark and this ridiculous lawsuit, it's over. The drama is over. You can go back to your regularly scheduled, book reviews and pictures of hot guys. We can all go back to what we really want to be doing here. It's on her, not on us. Let's be clear about that. Second note, before I actually get started with the meat of this video, I will be talking about some topics that might be upsetting for people. I am going to be talking about mental illness. I am going to be talking about suicide. These are personal issues for me, so I will be talking about them in a way that, comes from a place of experience. But if that is likely to be triggering for you, feel free to skip this video. No hard feelings. So, For reasons that I do not understand, I think yesterday, Faleena Hopkins went ahead and replaced the text of a blog post that she originally made on May 27th. The title of the post still is Author Faleena Hopkins, Why I Filed to Trademark My Series and Unwittingly Created #COCKYGATE. This was, I think, the first blog post that she actually made about the issue, and it was just like a bunch of, explanations and justifications. We've seen it all before. And for whatever reason, she, June 9th, so it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before yesterday, she went ahead and, just got rid of the whole text of that and replaced it with, a reference to, it's basically a post about her self-care routine, couched in the framing device of last week's tragic suicides of Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain, which, if you follow me on social media, you know that those definitely hit me really hard. And they hit a lot of people really hard. Millions of people are very sad, if not devastated, over this. And, it's public figures who I don't think anyone necessarily expected for this to happen, and yet at the same time, when it does happen, you can look back on what you know and say, this was not some random, out of nowhere thing. This is something that they've been struggling with for a very long time. So, at first it seems kind of random and in poor taste at best, like, why is she choosing this moment and, like, this particular, like, why not make a new blog post? Like, what point is she making? I was confused at first. Well, I think I figured it out. I think she is intimating that the kind of bullying she is experiencing because of COCKYGATE is the kind of thing that drives people to suicide. That might be an unfair characterization, but I'm pretty sure that's what she's implying. Let's go through this. She says, 2 important influential people committed suicide and left the rest of us wondering why they stepped out of the game when they had so much going for them. I'm sorry, that's just... no. The phrasing, I hopefully don't even have to explain why that phrasing is just gross. They had so much going for them, had built so much, and had the fame everyone claims they want, but does not realize the price that comes with it. I don't know if she's implying that famous people are more likely to struggle with mental illness because of their fame, but, like, in most cases, these are people that have struggled with mental illness for a very long time, since before anyone, really knew who they were. It's a weird... not that being in the public eye doesn't mess with your head, because it absolutely does, but whatever. Okay. The past month and change during the time-wasting COCKYGATE. Well, if you feel like it's wasting time, Faleena, you could just end this. Lawsuits can be dropped. Trademarks can be withdrawn. You could make this stop, and everyone would leave you alone. Like I was saying earlier, no one actually cares if you were to step back and stop trying to grasp for things that don't belong to you. Anyway, during COCKYGATE, it's been a tightrope act to maintain my serenity, so I get why stepping out could be appealing. Again, first of all, she keeps saying stepping out when she means killing yourself. That is a very strange turn of phrase to use. So, her language in regards to death and suicide throughout this whole thing continues to be so just flippant. She's like, if this had happened to me during my 20s, I probably would have found a new home for my dog and bit the dust by now. It's not the kind of language. I have had people, I've unwittingly offended people before by the way that I describe my own mental illness. Because sometimes you kind of forget that other people don't live inside your head and they don't understand where your like dark humor is coming from. So I've had that experience before of like being too flip talking about these issues just because they are so personal to me and I live with them every day. But the tone that she is taking here isn't the tone of someone, to me, who truly grapples with these issues and really understands them. But, you know, again, that might be unfair. I'm sorry. My face is like so itchy today. I think I'm allergic to the air. I don't know. So she immediately gives credit to her spiritual practice for helping her, you know, get better, which, whatever. It's not even clear that she ever was. She says, I went into various therapies when he went into rehabs. She's referring to the beautiful addict that she was married to, which is, again, a kind of a gross turn of phrase, but whatever. I'm not here to nitpick. I am. So, she went to therapy. At rock bottom, I was ready to change. I healed the God-shaped holes, filled them with the only thing that works, a spiritual practice. Okay, to be clear, a spiritual practice is great if that is what works for you. It is not the only thing that works. And making people feel that missing a spiritual practice is what's causing their depression is just plain irresponsible. It's just not true. And for those who are hurting so badly, they're thinking of hurting themselves, these are some things I use to cope with. Hopefully they give you some ideas for how you pull yourself up and out of depression / anxiety / sorrow / grief or anything that might be troubling you. So again, it's pretty clear she's not like one of us. And I don't mean to sound like a dick by saying that, but in general, she's unwilling to put herself in the category of people who have actually struggled with mental illness and suicide. She's not going there. Even in this context of giving people advice, she's unwilling to characterize herself that way, which, you know what, to be fair, yeah, I'm glad that she's not pretending. I'm glad she's not pretending to understand something that she doesn't understand. And yet she kind of is, because even though she's being pretty clear that she doesn't get it, she's also still trying to kind of keep that one toe in the water by giving people advice. And this is very, this advice is very reminiscent of that, like, crushing your man's balls post that I kind of went off about a few videos ago. By the way, if you notice any weird stains on my mouth, it's the red Powerade, so sorry. Not sorry, it's delicious. So, yeah, it reminds me of the Crush Your Man's Balls post, because it's like this weird thing where it's a mixture of, like, decent advice with just what the fuck. Like, and again, I'm not trying to make light of the overall issue, but this post itself is just bonkers. Okay. So first of all, she says, there's a lot of freedom and fuck it, don't take things so seriously. That has zero usefulness to anyone that struggled with depression, you know. That attitude, once you kind of hit rock bottom with depression, sometimes the attitude comes on its own, and that can actually be helpful, but it's not something that helps you get out when you're in, like, the dark depths. So she makes the point that she basically says this too shall pass. Think about something that was really difficult, painful in your past, and do you even worry about it anymore? Well, in a lot of cases, she talks about her first heartbreak, which is true. If you're like, you know, in your 30s or older, your first romantic heartbreak probably has zero relevance to your life anymore. But you know, some people have actually dealt with like serious actual tragedies. You know, like real shit, like deaths of people that they're close to that do stay with them for the rest of their lives and don't ever, you know, it becomes less sharp, but it never really goes away. So she's being a little reductive of grief, which again grief's a different issue than depression, but it's still, since she's kind of conflating them, let's go ahead and address it. So here's her list of the tools she uses for self-care. She doesn't use the phrase self-care, but that's what she's talking about. Tools I use: spending time only with positive people. So if you need any kind of help or support, fuck yourself, I guess. Asking others how they're doing, offer support and encouragement. That's not bad advice, actually. I find that I like to focus on helping others when I'm in a bad place, but you literally just said you only spend time with positive people. That's not possible if you're also seeking out people who need your help, who might be in a really dark place. Whatever. Meditation, yes. Prayer, if you're into it, yes. Detaching from social media, sometimes. Detaching from social media can also isolate you. And that's not always a good thing. Now, yes, social media can be really stressful and depressing, but sometimes it's also a lifeline. So, yeah, this is complex. Working on what I love, yes. Spending time with my sweet dog, pets heal hearts, yes. Eating healthy foods to help immune system, yes. Those are all good pieces of advice. But again, all those things, meditation, prayer, working on what I love, spending time, those are all things that are really fucking hard to do when you're depressed. It's not that easy. And I think, maybe it's unfair to hit that point so hard because it's good advice. But I think that people really do not understand how incredibly difficult it is just to function when you're in a depressive, episode. And here's where it gets weird. Chewable vitamin C's popped several times a day. Honey, no. Vitamin C, okay, first of all, it's been pretty well established at this point that most people don't need any kind of vitamin supplements. You get enough from the food that you eat as long as you have a varied diet. If you're buying vitamin supplements, you're probably just peeing them out. I'm sorry, it's a fact. There are some exceptions. There are certain supplements I take because of the diet that I eat. And specifically, I need more of certain things. Generally speaking, though, you don't need to be taking... First of all, chewable vitamin C's are just loaded with sugar. It probably makes you feel better because it's a bunch of sugar. And that has nothing, it just has nothing to do with anything. It's nothing to do with mental health. I'm glad that you like your vitamin C chewables. Maybe you should try some Flintstones vitamins. They're really good. Sleeping well, phone off. Yes. Again, good advice, hard to follow when you're depressed. Dressing up so I look my best and don't hide behind sweats. Again, true for some people, very hard to do when you're depressed. Dancing it out. Very hard to do when you're depressed. You see a pattern here? Making up dumb songs and singing them full belt. Listening to my favorite tracks on repeat. Making the bed right after I wake up. This one made me smile because it's actually not bad advice. But it reminds me of, there's this blog. It was originally a blog. Now there's a book. There's an app called Unfuck Your Habitat. And it's all about basically teaching people how to kind of keep their home clean and organized. And it's geared towards people who maybe weren't taught those skills growing up or struggle with basic, what everyone thinks of as basic housekeeping because of chronic illness or mental health issues or, just being too damn busy and just not having that instinct to keep things clean and neat, which I deeply relate to. So, one of the things that the woman who runs on Fuck Your Habitat always suggests is, as soon as you get up, make your bed. And she's taken so much shit for it because people are like, why do I have to make my bed? I'm just gonna get back in it, blah, blah, blah. And she maintains it because she's like, listen, it really helps to have just one thing in your life that is neat and like crisp and nice. It's a nice little oasis. Even if the whole rest of your bedroom is a mess, it's like a little oasis for you. And she's like, stop arguing. If you don't want to do it, you don't need my permission to not make your bed. I'm not your mom. I'm just saying it helps me, and I think it helps a lot of people. So that just made me smile. I thought it was pretty funny. Again, I don't think she's wrong, but it's still, again, yeah, not something you're necessarily going to have on your priority list when you're very depressed. Keeping appointments and showing up smiling no matter what. Again, yeah, it's not bad advice. You should keep your appointments, especially if they're mental health appointments and you're struggling with mental health. And to force yourself to smile, unfortunately, I know it sounds obnoxious, but studies show that smiling does make you feel better, even if it's a fake smile at first. And yeah, again, some of this advice is fine, but it's A, nothing we haven't heard before as depressed people, and B, really hard to actually do, and these kinds of hot takes on depression always seem to overlook that. Her final thing is more prayer. In that prayer, say what I'm grateful for. Gratitude wins every time. Say 10 things I'm grateful for, even as simple as chocolate exists. Again, prayer if you're into it, and meditation can be really helpful. Really hard to do when you're depressed. I'm not gonna get into, okay, she gives a few specific recommendations of certain books and stuff. I'm not gonna get into that, because there's some controversial shit in there that I don't even feel like getting into. But she says, there's so much more help on the internet. If you search for your exact dilemma, someone is probably talking about it, but you've got to be willing. That's the key. Willing to change, willing to grow, willing to let it go and walk into the unknown. A life where you are happy and free, maybe? Sounds worth it to me. Smiley face emoticon. I had a weird brain fart there because I'm so used to saying emoji, but it's not an emoji. It's like old style emoticon. That's the word we used to use, right? God, it's been so long. Okay. You've got to be willing to change. Again, it's not untrue, but it's such a reductive oversimplification of the experience of depression and how fucking hard it is just to exist, let alone want to change, let alone take the steps to change. And this post is at best tone deaf. At worst, I don't even know. But the fact that I feel like she's basically using the opportunity of these really tragic celebrity deaths to bring the attention back on herself, which again, yes, I know I'm contributing to it by making this video, but I'm not going to ignore her, because ignoring her is even worse. I don't even know. I'm at a loss for words, honestly. This is wild. I'm gonna go do some damage control on Facebook now, I think, because I'm pretty sure I pissed some people off by caring about this and telling them that you're always free. Again, like I said in the beginning of the video, you can unfollow that, you can unsubscribe, you can not watch any videos that you think are gonna upset you, or if you're just bored with the issue. I'm not gonna take it personally, guys. I get it. It's not, I'm not trying to be insulting when I say you can unfollow me. Legit, I don't, it's fine. Like, it's fine. It's really okay. Well, I guess it's time to go meditate and eat some vitamin C tablets. Bye.